Okay. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. And welcome to today's episode of Shay's Wellness Club Accountability Sessions. Shay's Wellness Live Q&A. And I want to thank you guys for coming today. Bow bar. So we're going to be talking about some stuff per usual every Sunday. Thank you for joining. We are talking about every week how we can unbig our back naturally, consistently, and with a little bit of strategy. So if you are someone that's tired of waiting until every Monday to get started, tired of being just not confident in what we're doing in a weight loss journey, tired of winging it when it comes to eating right, the snacks we should have, and just food in general, welcome. You are here for a reason. And you didn't find this by accident. So we're going to get started by talking a couple things. Now, today's topic, we're going to be going over, you are going to outgrow some people. This is going to be on the different side of the weight loss journey. Everything isn't perfect. Everything doesn't go just as always as planned. So we're going to talk about the other side of weight loss goals. Now, when I tell you my 60-pound weight loss journey has changed my life, it has truly changed my life for the better. As far as, I look better in my clothes. I'm more confident. I attract more opportunities. Just being in a better environment and being that good, positive person for others. They say that the 4 people you spend the most time with, or the 5 people in your circle, you will be that 5th or 6th person amongst those people with that same mindset. And I would love to say that me going through my wellness journey, because it's wellness overall, not even just weight loss, you can be that person that's an asset in you can be that person that's an asset in your group. So coming here every Sunday around 6:30 Central Standard Time, we talk about how we are that asset in our group, that asset to society, and an asset to ourselves. Because the more we better our relationship with food, the more that we're a positive energy around people and ourselves, the better we are productive, the more we can produce and to make the world better, even if it's just our house, even if it's just our city or our little, our street. You're inspiring someone, and to be the inspiration for others is just a blessing. So we are here talking weight loss goals, and today's topic, we're talking about you're going to outgrow people sometimes. And we're going to go over a couple more questions you guys have to ask when it comes to wellness and weight loss strategy. And feel free to comment below if you have any questions. I am here for you to pick my brain at the moment. And yes, we do have, I do strategy sessions. And if somebody wants a strategy session really quick, this is the best time for you to get one. Or you can also inbox me for a private strategy session where I conduct group coaching or one-on-ones as well. Let me see. Okay, I was gonna go over our theme song, but I'm gonna have that ready for next time. Okay, just know that we have a theme song, and we're gonna remember it, so it not only is a theme song for the show, but it's going to make you remind yourself that you are that guy, that girl, that person that's about to change the rest of your life. So, welcome. That intro be okay. Let's get into it. All right, thanks for joining. So, today's topic is we're going to outgrow people in this journey, and there is nothing wrong with that. It's not about being better than anyone. It's not about you just elevating to such a point that people are beneath you. It's nothing of that sort. Thank you so much. I want to make sure I say your name right. Thank you so much for the compliment. And happy Sunday. We are talking about how we're gonna, outgrow people. And sometimes that does come from the lack of support. During this weight loss journey, this wellness journey in general, because it's not just weight loss, but it's better in our relationship with food, better in our relationship when it comes to our habits and everything in between. And sometimes it's going to point out those that really want to see you win and those that kind of wish you don't win. And this journey also teaches you how to be very mindful of your surroundings, mindful of people, and also I want to get the word right, being not vigilant, but oh, all right, being having a strong discernment when it comes to this journey. I would definitely say through my 60-pound weight loss journey, we I have learned great discernment when it comes to that. I've not only just learned it, but I prayed about discernment. I always pray that those, and I don't know about you guys, but I pray a lot. And especially my yearly prayer, like at the beginning of the year, I always pray for those that wish me well, those that are genuinely here for me to stay in my life, and those that aren't, just leave. And whenever I have a prayer like that, I don't know about you, I be getting goosebumps just talking about it. But it's just like God or the universe or whatever you believe just puts things in perspective for you. It makes you see things. It makes you say, what did they mean by that comment? Was that really a compliment or was that a backhanded compliment? And I'm like, because a lot of us, we realize, no, all of our friends are for us. All of our friends wants to see our win. All of us, even family. I'm not just talking about friends, family too. You know, they all want to see us win. They all want to see us succeed and be wealthy and healthy and all this stuff. But then we don't realize sometimes, and it's not us bragging about our journey, but it's about saying it out loud. A lot of people say, don't tell people your plans, don't do this, don't tell that. If you have a strong relationship with God in particular, or just a strong mind, period, there is nothing someone can say that can shake you from your dream. Something that's meant for you is for you, whether you tell that next person, even a stranger or not, and they hope the worst for you, that's not going to shake you to where you're not going to get to that journey, right? So we have to really be mindful of just things like that. So, someone asked, what happens when you start changing? When you start changing, and it doesn't have to be, I'm not doing this anymore, so I'm not gonna hang out with you anymore. In my case, it was kind of the opposite of that. When I stopped drinking, when I stopped smoking, when I stopped, well, I never was a person that cursed a lot. Just less of ratchet fun, it just more, let's go out and like learn a new skill type of thing, because when you are on your wellness journey, you kind of start learning different ways to have fun and different ways that you can just have better use of your time. And sometimes people don't like that. Some people could, why? Sometimes that kind of um realizes what they're not doing right, and once I noticed that, hey, I don't feel like drinking tonight. I just want to do this. Or, you know what? Instead of watching Love and Hip Hop and because these are my shows, I like to call the Ratchet TV, my Ratchet shows. I used to love and Hip Hop and just all the VH1 and, stuff like that. And then I'm like, you know what? Instead of that, I want to watch Shark Tank. And Shark Tank was like, ended up being one of my favorite shows. But nonetheless, you just have you start developing different tastes, because once you do that, it kind of connects certain dots for you, because after a while, you're like, okay, I'm drinking, going out every night or going out every weekend, coming home, same thing, same thing, same thing. Still low on funds. I don't like to say broke. Still low on funds, still, unhappy with where I am, still wasn't driving, still didn't have a car, but I still was going out, I still was, having fun. And I'm like, no, I need to change something. If I am not where I want to be, I don't blame no one else but me. So I had to, develop different habits and change my what I listened to, changed the people I was around sometimes. Instead of going out on a Saturday, I might just go to a networking event, and just learn to be uncomfortable, but have it work for me. So that is a lot of things that kind of start changing, because someone asked what happens when you start changing, and you start just develop habits, but habits that, I don't want to say there's a good addiction, but healthier habits build happier life to me. Happier health, happier. What is it called? Thanks for joining. And make sure you give this video a like. Make sure you give this video a share, because someone else may need this information, this encouragement. Because I felt like when I was in my weight wellness journey, I was kind of alone, and that's what kind of made me start talking about it more out loud. And that's how I realized I'm going to say certain things or some of my dreams out loud, because I know the devil listening, but I know God even stronger. So when I start doing that, some people really started encouraging me, and even people that I didn't even know. And sometimes encouragement from outside people view, you may like, oh, okay, they really see me. Like, people that we know, we always talk about it, this and that. But when you realize you're an inspiration to someone else, it's really cool. And it's not even from friends and stuff like that, but even at work. Like, so there would be times where it was to the point where I was meal prepping every day. Not every day. I was meal prepping every week for like the first month, for like straight. Like, and then, of course I did it months after that, but like consistently I did it for like 4 to 6 weeks straight. And it wasn't easy, but I did it. And people noticed, they was like, oh, Sade, you have your lunch today. Oh, what's that? That's your lunch. It smell good. And then, stuff like that, stuff like that, stuff like that. And then people ask, oh, what you have for lunch today? Oh, I got like turkey and sweet potato, blah blah blah. Turkey meatballs. What's that? Or, oh, why you're eating? I used to make turkey burgers with no bun. They were like, that's meatloaf. And I'm like, you're right, that is meatloaf. And then I make turkey meatloaf. And it was like, turkey meatloaf? You don't eat beef? Blah, blah, blah. It's just, I like the fun conversation. And I just like that it kind of promoted, because I got tired of like going to Chipotle, going to up the street to the nasty rallies. I'm sorry, but I did not like rallies. It was really the closest thing to me. And then I started eating rallies, and then it's just a domino effect, and you realize we're eating too much, not necessarily too much food, but too much of the wrong food. Because I promise you, I ate my way to skinny. And when I tell you, I say I ate my way to skinny, I was eating 5 times a day, losing weight. And that's how I knew for sure it was my eating habits, not me, lack of the gym. Because I, walked, like I said in my past video, I walked about 5 to 10K steps a day at work. I didn't have a car, so I always walked, okay? But then I just was like, I am steady gaining this weight. And then you would have thought, oh, duh, because I ate fast food. But it really took me to say, Sade, you're doing something that's not working. I wasn't consistent with my eating habits. So once I started changing my eating habits, the rest was history. Especially when I started meal prepping. When I started coming to work, and then it just, that's why I just love the journey, because the memories that you have from it is gonna make you not want to give up on yourself. Because it was to the point where I was like eating, how us people, how we be as Black people especially, we be always thinking someone on a diet or someone's has an issue or something like that. So it was to the point where sometimes I would work at a warehouse, and there's like temps and stuff, and I was a temp that turned permanent. And then it was the point where I would like just have a bowl of vegetables for a snack, or just have a green apple, or just have hard-boiled eggs in the morning. And Some people are like, wow, you eat real good. Are you on a diet? When I tell you, it's so surprising how people will be like, ask me, was I on a diet? Was I on a diet? It was to the point where some people, like the permanent people that see me every day, they're like, she eat like this, just period. Like when I tell you, like just show that right here, she eat like that. And it was to the point where I didn't even have to say anything. And whenever I think back on times like that, it just made me realize it's not just you, it's the people you're inspiring around you, like, you know what, I'm gonna try that recipe, or where'd you get that recipe from? Or, and I have recipes available if you need some healthy recipes. Okay, inbox me the word food and I can send you a complimentary recipe book for watching today's live. But yes, we are so, it's so awesome to see the people that you inspire. um what happens when you start changing? When you start changing, you start realizing the things that you're doing that are holding you back. For instance, in my case, it was the food. In my case, it was me drinking so many calories. I didn't realize that it was so much sugar and calories in one portion of orange juice, apple juice, even cranberry juice, even let alone a soda. Soda was, a once in a while type of thing, but I didn't even think. I used to be, oh, I don't drink soda, I drink juice. Juice is almost just as bad as soda. It just don't have the fizz. You know what I mean? So I changed my habits in that aspect, and it changed my life. And I'm praying that someone that's watching this, they realize, and if you're dare that you choose to accept this challenge and inbox me on all social media. I'm Sade Monroe or Shay Cuts, and let me know. Okay, I did the homework, and I realized where I could do better. Go to your pantry, or go to your cabinets, or your fridge especially, and look in there, and then see how many things that you could switch out. Like, okay, for instance, cereal. A lot of people don't realize that we're eating too much cereal that's in one serving. We're not supposed to be eating no three bowls, because I definitely used to do that. Or switching out the cereals. That's what I did before. Sometimes instead of taking something away completely, swapping for a better option helps you so much more. For instance, for those that don't know, I do not eat beef or pork. But when I meal prepped, I put beef and pork in my meals before I even cut it out. What I did was, instead of frying pork, instead of frying beef, I would bake things, which helped me to wean myself off of it altogether. For instance, soda wise, before I complete cut out soda, I switched to diet. I switched to sugar free stuff. And then to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to have a better option. I'm going to drink more water. I'm going to drink more sugar free things, stuff like that. And it really does make a difference when you're trying to unbig your back like I did. And next time I'm going to probably have a picture of me up or something. That will probably help with visually. Because I used to have a lot of rolls. And if you see my former photos, you'll see they're all on my pages, on my reels and my talks and all that, and my shorts, of all, I used to be a big back. And when I realized that it was time for me to do something different, someone asked, what was it? Someone asked, what was it that made me want to stop and finally lose the weight? I looked at my own reflection. And when I say look at my own reflection, I looked at my photos. The photos indicated and showed me that I needed to change something. I could tell the days where I was, partying in my photos. I could tell the times where I was like, All right. Are we all right? We're back. Woo! Woo! Okay. We are back. Okay. Let me look at the right camera. All right, we are back. Sorry about that. Now, we're talking about how we're gonna outgrow people. And sometimes when we outgrow people, it's from the lack of support. And I'm not saying someone needs to cheer you on every single day, every single week, but when you see your friend overcoming an obstacle, it's kind of good to be like, how, even if you don't feel like asking sometimes, how'd you do it? You're doing great. Because sometimes people need that, hey, thank you for that. That means when someone tells me and when I tell them, wow, that means a lot. That really means a lot when you hear encouraging words from someone that knows you personally, some people, I'd be like, wow, that means a lot coming from you. For instance, say someone is a great dancer, an amazing dancer that does ballet, or an amazing singer, right? And they say, "Wow, Sade, you did a great job at that recital. You did a great job at that music thing, right? You sang beautifully." I'll be like, "Wow, that means a lot coming from you because you're already amazing, and for you to tell me that means a lot." So that's very important to just keep in mind, to always encourage those. And maybe someone's watching this and you need to be that encouragement for your friend, because when you're there for each other, you're always going to people are going to remember that. So we were like what we were saying, we were talking about what happens when you start changing. You know, a lot of things happen when you start changing. You start being that encouragement for your friend, for your family member, for your associate, for even your coworker, and you are in a way alike, because a lot of people are like, why should I, you're glowing? Wow. Like, used to get that compliment all the time. And then I'd be like, it'd be the food. When I tell you things that start changing, your glow is different. You're more happier than you usually be. Out of, like, not even because you had good sex, not because you smoked some good weed, not because you got a promotion or anything. It's because you are putting in your body something that genuinely gives you fuel. Food, the right fuel, can definitely outbeat. And I am not all this. All of Shay's Wellness Club and STL Green Eats content is fair use only, and is all never used as professional advice, but advice from fair use, my personal experience. But I think diet and exercise can outbeat any antidepressant, Ozempic, Manjaro, um, sometimes therapy, when we can't afford it. If you can't afford therapy, and you don't eat better and exercise, I don't know what else to tell you, because a lot of us can't really self-medicate because a lot of us are in denial on what we're going through, And sometimes when we eat right, sometimes when we drink our water, such as this. Yes, I drink a gallon of water a day, and it always keeps the doctor away. Um, I started drinking a gallon of water maybe a year before the pandemic, and I'm just thankful that I'm able to do that. Now, everything in moderation, but yes, those are things that start changing. Um, and then when you have a great energy about you, genuine energy about you, it makes you thankful for things more, and then they'll point out to those that may be uncomfortable with themselves. Hence, you're going to outgrow some people. Some people are going to want you to stay where you are. That party girl, that party guy, that person that's always down for the BS, down for the shenanigans, that person that's always down to do hood rat stuff with your hood rat friends, all that, okay? And be sure to like and share this video because someone else may need this encouragement and it helps boost the algorithms and all that good stuff. So give me a good 100 likes. I would love that. I would love that. But anyways, it points out people's insecurities. And if someone says, Sade, what do you mean by that? Well, let's say you lost 50 pounds naturally. Let's say you lost 20 pounds naturally. And people tend to notice. For someone that is struggling in that area, it kind of reminds them, dang, I ain't eating right. Dang, I'm not taking my walks like I should. Dang, I've been eating like trash all week, you know? And sometimes people that are insecure with themselves and don't want you to realize you're doing well, if that makes sense, will poke out little things just to discourage you sometimes. And that's when I talk about discernment is very important. There are going to be sometimes moments where you're going to hear backhanded compliments. Sometimes you may hear little jabs here and there, trying to be disguised as nice. But sometimes when someone says something with a smile, or someone that say, "Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing," they ain't always playing. So it always helps to identify and point out those little things. For instance, I like, and I wish when I was losing weight, I eventually stopped weighing myself because I was like, I look good. I don't want to keep weighing myself, you know. But I should have weighed myself when I was my smallest. But when I was my smallest, right, which was around 2021, 2020, 22, I was getting not compliments. I was getting comments like, "Ooh, you don't want to get too skinny. You don't want to weather away now. I mean, you look good now, but you don't want to lose 10, 20. You don't need to lose all that weight. You ain't got to stick to your diet all the time." And then in my head, psychologically, I was like, you know what, you're right. I mean, I don't want to get too skinny. And then in my head, I'm like, sometimes the person that's giving you certain advice aren't the ones that should be telling you. Just like unmarried people, unhappy people that can't keep a man, people that can't keep a woman and stuff like that, shouldn't be giving relationship advice. And that's the same with weight loss, okay? If they aren't where you want to be in life, and that's either financially, physically, mentally, stuff like that, you shouldn't be taking advice from people like that. Now, I should have known that back then when I first heard it, but in my head, I'm like, okay, you know what, you're right. I can enjoy myself for a little bit, but then what happens? I psych myself out, and me thinking, oh, I can enjoy myself lasted way too long. Then I was like, okay, I don't have to go to the gym as much, stuff like that. So sometimes people are going to throw you off your square on purpose, just so they can feel better while you take yourself back to that place. Also, another example, I have so many examples of when I stopped smoking and stuff. And then it was people you would be surprised that would make you feel bad for stopping a habit that was just holding you back. And it wasn't even to the point where I was like, "Ugh, y'all doing that, y'all sure," or it wasn't even to the point where I made you feel bad for doing it. Because I ain't gonna knock no one for their habits, because I still don't, I'm not opposed, or I'm not against smoking and stuff like that. Liquor's a different story because I just know what it does mentally and physically to us. But I digress. But having someone make you feel bad for bettering yourself is an inkling right there that you may be outgrowing someone. And I'm not saying cut people off as soon as, certain things come about. And thank you for the like. Make sure you like and share this to a friend because someone might need this encouragement. And also, make sure you are following on all social media so you can get notified of great conversations like this. But you want to, be mindful of stuff like that. Now, something I can say I could have done better was when I felt a certain way to say something. Or, eventually you speak your mind when you're during your journey. But just being mindful of, I'm going to speak up when I don't hear something that I don't like. Or what was said was not right, and why would you say it like that? And sometimes when you ask someone, what makes you say that? Or why did you say that to me? It's not you being in your feelings, but it's for them to realize what you said wasn't cool. Because if the roles were reversed and you were to say a certain thing that would trigger them or to discourage them or to make them feel like, dang, I'm not doing enough, it would be an issue. So sometimes people need to look in the mirror and get, hear it reversed. Be like, yeah, you're right. Why do some people get uncomfortable? Is a great question. Why do some people get uncomfortable? Some people get uncomfortable with you because it points out their insecurities. And there's nothing wrong with you doing what you're meant to do. For instance, me, I got closer to God. I started going to church more consistently. I put down the weed, even though, and I just feel like I'm just on a year of no smoking. Only because one, it was part of me. One, I didn't like how dark it made my lips. Two, I didn't like relying on it to feel better or to feel less irritated. I didn't want it. I didn't like that greens directly correlated to my mood that day type of thing, And then also, I promised my mom I would eventually stop and like slow down and stuff. But also, once I let certain things go, especially when I stopped drinking liquor, like what I would do is go on, and I encourage anyone to do this, just to get a feel, because I know where my future is going. Okay, this video, YouTube might got 1, 2, views, but it's gonna go to 100. It's gonna go to 500. It's gonna go to 10,000. It's gonna go up. You know what I mean? I plan to be very successful. So I know I had to stop certain habits now in order to see the future I desired. Because when I did that with my wellness journey, that's how I'm here today. By me stop going out so much, me drinking less, me bettering my relationship with food. So I lost weight, stuff like that. I was able to track my husband. I was able to track better opportunities. I got promoted. It was such a ripple effect when I really locked in that my past self I thank my past self for making those decisions. So what I did was take small breaks, and that's what I encourage everyone to do. Because sometimes when we are, drinkers and stuff, we realize, well, at least I realized, let me take a month off. Let me take 30 days off. Okay. And then I would take 30 days off, and I wanted to see how it would be around friends, how it would be, period, if I eventually stop. So I take breaks. When I take breaks, you'd be surprised how much peer pressure it is to drink. And I didn't realize it at first. I was like, I just said no to a drink twice. Why are you asking me again? And I didn't realize that your circle is so important, because it shouldn't be hard for you to hear no the first time. Okay, the second time, but if I got to tell you 3 times no to a drink or no to a pull of smoke, it should not be that hard. So eventually you realize and take note. You realize and take note of, okay, that's that first incident. That's that first event. That's that first kickback. That's that one trip. That's that one, you know what I mean? And then it's a repetition type of thing. It's a, okay, are you trying to throw me off on purpose? Because after, to me, and after two times, I'm gonna get an attitude. Okay, after two times, I'm just not gonna want to go anywhere anymore. You know, after a while, and it's like, but then when I start doing that, they'd be like, or others would be, oh, well, you're no fun no more. Oh, you're so serious now. Well, I was cool when I just was able to come and tag along, but now it's an issue because what do I want to go with you so much anymore when I have to fight to remember that I made a goal for myself every 20 minutes? Okay, well, I digress. But why do some people get uncomfortable? Some people get uncomfortable because they're just not ready to change that part of themselves yet sometimes. Sometimes people don't want to give up the liquor. Sometimes people don't want to give up the weed. And a lot of people, a lot of us especially, are in denial that it's holding us back. I was one of those people. I was in denial that certain greens and drinking was holding me back. Yes, I was making good money. Was supervisor. I was getting promotions, I was going on trips. Yes. But even at that level, it was holding me back. Why? It was time consuming. It would alter my memory. It would alter my brain. It would make me emotional. It would allow things to slide that shouldn't slide, stuff like that. And that's how I realized it was time for me to let it go. But we all have our own um, ways that we find that out. Me, I had to take breaks to realize that. When I took a break from greens and I realized that it was really hard to go 30 days without drinking or 30 days without greens, I was like, why? Me, I have to get down to it. I gotta be like, why is this so hard? Why, why can't I be like, or when I get upset, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I could do this. I'm like, no. And it really helps and develops your discipline even more in it, and it helps point out those that kind of want you to lose. I say that because after a while, you have to realize when they stop asking you to go places, when some are trying to remind you of who you used to be, when they constantly put you back in that place. After a while, it's not just they're trying to get used to me in this new lifestyle. They want me to stay that old Sade. And when you go through a wellness journey, you're not that same old person anymore. And that's actually a good thing. No, you're not leaving behind the good parts of you. You're just letting go of the bad or the worst parts of you. I let go of that emotional drinking and that, emotional green smoking and a lot of that stuff. Why? Because now I need a sharp mind to make more money. I need a sharp mind to make better decisions. I need a sharp mind in order to um, network. And then you realize, wow, some of y'all can't have fun without it. I can. So it really just puts you in a position of true power over yourself. Again, like I say, discernment. Another question was, how do you stay focused when nobody understands? Gotta put my lip gloss for that one. Mm-mm. Now, that is a great question. Someone asked, how do you stay focused? Someone asked, how do you stay focused when nobody understands? You stay focused by remember where you came from, remembering where you brung yourself out of, and remembering your goal in your future. When I started this journey, I'm a big note taker. Always been. Something I'm very thankful for. You know, people like to say all this bad stuff about public schools, stuff like that. But one thing I can honestly say from elementary school till now, I've always learned to write it down, you know? And I wrote down my goals. I didn't even write down like my weight loss goal. But writing down, I want to be successful one day. I want to be a millionaire one day. I want to be a content creator. I want to help people, period. I want to be an inspiration to others. I want to speak on stages. I want to do this and that. And when you're focused, that's all you really see. When you're focused and you have goals and the financial goals at that, stuff like that, and you write down what you've been doing to hold you back, that's all you see is your goal. Liquor kind of hindered me from being focused in order to make more money. I can't have a successful meal prep service, STL Green Eats in St. Louis, which is a meal prep service here that I have. I can't have a successful meal prep if I'm drinking before I cook. I can't be focused on how much salt and pepper and stuff I'm cooking with if I'm smoking before. It can't remember if I put the seasoning on there or not. I can't be focused if I am a supervisor and can't and go to work with a hangover from drinking the night before. Like, we know what's holding us back from truly being successful. And a lot of us are too scared to learn other ways to get through stress, to get through financial issues. A lot of us would save a whole lot of money if we just stopped and put down the grains. A lot of us would be, able to fix our cars, to be able to fix our house issues, roofs, being able to, instead of us, struggling to cut the grass around the house, or you know what I mean, or to get that repair fixed. If we just took a month and not smoked, not got no liquor, that's hundreds of dollars probably in our pocket. If we stop getting all these subscriptions to Stars, Disney, Xbox, this, that, you'd be like, wow, I actually got some money to travel with. Stuff like that. I remember to save for a trip to Miami. I just stopped smoking for a month. And that helped pay for one-way ticket to Miami or to Florida, wherever that was, Fort Lauderdale. A lot of us can do a lot and accomplish a lot if we just stop with what's holding us back. And I'm not saying to stop forever, but if you truly know deep down that spending $100 on smoking something, just like spending $100 on blowing stuff up like on 4th, if we just say, you know what, I'm gonna wait this month, and then 1 month turns into 2 months, 2 months turn into 3 months, it's like, wait a minute. So you're telling me if I stop doing this one thing that's holding me back, I could save a good $500, $1,000 for something that's a bit more important? Hey, thanks for joining the live like this and share this to a friend. We are talking about how sometimes in our wellness journey we're going to outgrow people. And the question was, how do you stay focused? How do you stay focused when no one understands? Staying focused is always going to be a personal thing. And sometimes we have to do it by ourselves. Sometimes we have to learn to just put the phone down, because I had to learn this myself. Put the phone down, get off Facebook, get off TikTok sometimes, get off the YouTube. Unless it's something productive we're listening to, put it down. And sometimes we have to have that time to ourselves, go back. I mean, having notes in your phone is fine if you're a note taker like that. I take notes in my phone too. But I'm a note taker, pen to paper. When you write it down, when you write it down and you read it, it makes it real. I want to lose this much weight. I want to make this much money. I want to be on stage by this time. I want to achieve this goal. When you're able to seclude yourself, have that personal time to yourself at a desk, in bed, on a couch, instead of watching that Netflix and the Hulu and the baddies and all that stuff. But when you focus and really like take 30 minutes, it don't take a long time to just really pay attention to what's my goal? How can I achieve this goal? What do I need to take away in order for me to do this? And I remember early in my journey, I started a meal prep service, but before that, I started a t-shirt business. In order for me to be able to pay for my heat press, that was like, what, $320 or so? I was like, okay, what are my subscriptions? When I tell you, I realized I was paying for Hulu, Netflix, Disney, and that was back when I used to pay for Tidal. When I used to, it was like 5, 6 things that added up to like $100. And I was like, oh, well, we can cut that right there. I can watch YouTube. Okay. And that's why I have this platform initially on, YT, because it really is a platform that you can truly learn on. That's why our daily habits, what we listen to on a daily basis, well, not even on a daily basis, but what we listen to most of the time is so important to what we listen to sometimes. Like sometimes, yeah, we can watch the ratchet stuff. Sometimes we can, do this. But what are we doing to better our relationship with food? What are we listening to make us think about our future? What are we listening to make us more money? What are we listening to that we can learn to cook at home? Okay. And that's what Shay's Wellness Club is all about, to learn multiple ways. Because wellness isn't just weight loss, it's psychological, it is personal, it is learning how to love yourself, it's learning how to grow a brand, it's learning how to make more money online, stuff like that. And I help with all those avenues. So it's so important to just own in on what you're good at. I noticed that many women especially experience these things. What happens when you start changing? That's some things that we talked about in today's live. So if you need to go back and rewind this, watch this again. Watch this while you're washing dishes, cleaning the house, on the treadmill, taking a walk. Something positive that you can instill into your life. I answered these questions. What happens when you start changing? What do some people get? Why do some people get uncomfortable when you are leveling up in life? How do you stay focused when nobody understands? Those are those 3 main questions we talked about today in today's episode of You're Going to Outgrow Some People. And that's okay. Now, I'm not saying to completely leave all your friends behind because you're just so up there now. I'm saying give your friends, family, associates time to adjust to your new lifestyle, to your new person, well, not new personality, but you'd be surprised. I was already a bubbly, energetic person, but when I start eating, cooking at home, eating right, eating as fuel, working out, it helped me with so many issues when it came to anxiety, when it came to insecurities, when it came to what's the word? When it came to confidence, it is crazy. But then it made people uncomfortable because it's like, oh, I'm kind of used to the insecurity shit I used to have, where I would always ask, do you like this? Do you like that? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Now I don't care. What do you think? I know I'm cute. You know what I mean? And some people just can't handle that. Or some people just don't like that. Oh, they don't ask me about every little thing anymore. You know? And sometimes you're going to experience this. And another thing that I'm going to talk about is you're going to wish that you started this journey sooner. Because I could only imagine if I started my wellness and weight loss journey sooner, I would have been such not a fireball, but I would have been able to relieve myself of a lot of mental, physical, and emotional issues. I would have been confident enough to not have the wrong people around me. I would have been had more discernment to just cut ties earlier on, or even to the point where you're able to decipher if someone's really giving you a compliment or backhanded compliment, or to just speak up when you need to, you know? And it's better just now, better than later. I'm so thankful I learned this in my mid to late 20s opposed to my later years. Because, now that you can implement what you know and just better your life, period. So now you're able to attract better people in your life. You're able to attract your future husband, future wife, future partner, or, and even the kids that are watching. I have some of my wellness warriors that talk about how their kids are bettering their relationship with food too. Instead of, switching out the hot dogs and the chicken nuggets and stuff like that, they're switching out for more real food. Sometimes they gotta get creative with it, but that's okay. Because kids, you can teach anything to. You are in charge of your kids. Just like they were, like our parents are in charge of us. Learn what they like to eat. Sometimes you gotta trick them, like, oh wow, this is so sweet. Giving them some watermelon. Watermelon is like over 90% water, but it tastes sweet, so they thinking they're having something sweet or a treat. Instead of the ice cream, switch out for some watermelon, switch out for some, other things. But it really makes an impact when you focus on you. It spreads. Being in, better your relationship with food can really help you maintain a great lifestyle, especially when it comes to meal prepping. But sometimes, like I said, you're going to wish you started sooner in this process. You're going to wish that, not even wish, but you're going to be like, wow, I should have been did this. Because that's exactly how I feel in my wellness and weight loss journey. I should have started way sooner. Okay? There's no way that I was in my early 20s and being warned that I am pre-diabetic. That I don't want that for anyone that's watching this. And that's why I created Shay's Wellness Club. You can find our official, our page on FB, but also Shay Cuts or Sade Monroe on all social media. Because I'm here to better help people understand. We don't need another diet. We need strategy. And that's what helped me. I developed a 3-step strategy that helps us lose weight naturally without worrying about Mounjaro, no Ozempic, any pills, magic diets. But these 3-step process, unbigging our back, starting in the kitchen, being intentional with movement, and we are holding ourselves accountable in everything we do. I thank you guys for watching today's episode of Shay's Wellness Club Accountability Sessions. And I pray that you come back here next Sunday. We are here every Sunday around 6:30 Central Standard Time talking about how we can unbig our back naturally. And if you are someone that needs a strategy session, inbox me. Inbox me on all social media. I answer all of my DMs personally, and we can get a meal prep started if you're in St. Louis, or a strategy session where we could just start from where you are. Okay, let me know what you do like, don't like when it comes to food, and I help you with meal preparation. And if you're someone that's watching this, especially the replay, and want a meal prep demonstration, put it in the comments. And maybe on one of these Sundays, I can demonstrate a full meal prep session with you guys. Meal prep has changed my life when it came to losing 60 pounds naturally. And I just want to show you guys there's different ways to meal prep, there's different ways to enjoy healthy food. All it takes is the right seasoning, a good attitude, and willing to learn. And I am here for that. So, thank you for joining today's episode. I pray a great week for everyone watching and listening today. Make sure you don't take things personal. Make someone smile this week. Give someone a compliment. You get that great energy back. And to pray about it, put God first. And to breathe before you react. Sometimes that second you just, before you blow up, before you crash out, just take a breath. And sometimes that makes all the difference of life. Have a great day. Bye.